It's a mystery object. What do you think it is? Hi guys, it's Dave at Handforged channel. How are you doing today? I'm going to be reviewing this. It's the Spantan. It's a wood splitting knife. Now, I really wanted to like this because it's made by a small smithy local to me, and it's for splitting splints like this for getting your fire started. And it's supposed to be like something you can do indoors. It's supposed to give you enough advantage to be able to easily split splints like this. Unfortunately, and I'll tell you, I've really wanted to give this a positive review, but it's got a lot of weak spots, and I've got to give it a very mixed review. I'm going to go through why I have to give this a mixed review. It works, and I'm going to give you a lot of examples after I've gone through this little bit of show and talk and rating and slating. It's supposed to be for splitting wood. You go through it and you get off your small splints for starting your fire, but it only works in more or less ideal conditions. You need to have soft wood. It works okay on pine wood. If you go over to hardwood, beech, alder, I'm not talking about vintage oak, but say beech or alder, which you might well have, or birch, that you might well have in your wood pile, all of a sudden this thing starts to bounce back at you. When you do start to put a lot of effort into it, the whole thing flexes, so you get wrapped knuckles. And it's also, in the way it's supposed to be used, because it doesn't bite in, because it doesn't cut in very well, there's a lot of opportunity for actually hurting yourself with this, cutting your fingers off, or having bits of wood come up flying back into your face. It does come very sharp. It's basically a straight Scandi grind on it, but there's not a lot of weight in it, and it's quite thick. So because it's not got a lot of weight in it, but it's quite thick, it doesn't really want to cut into wood the way it should do. But let's see a couple of examples. I'll show you how it works best, how it works kind of medium, and then how it works not very well at all. So I'm going to show you an ideal piece of wood when it works the best, on a piece of wood which is a bit here and there, not ideal, but it should still go through it, it's pine, and then on a piece of hardwood, piece of alder or beech, and show you how it just bounces back. It doesn't do much for you whatsoever. I've got some pine here, and as you can see, it's got a very straight, well-defined grain in it. There's the outside, there's the inside. Now this is basically the type of wood it works to a certain extent quite well on. Now, one of the things that I don't like with this is how do you actually get the knife into it? You're supposed to hold it like this and then start it off like this. As you can see, it's coming down. So if you forget what you're doing, you've got an absent mind, you could put your fingers around here, and this is going to come down on your fingers. So you have to really think about that. And I don't like things when you're using splitting wood that you have to think about. It should be idiot proof, right? It should be like virtually impossible to cut your fingers off with methods you're using for splitting wood. And with this, it's actually, you've got to be thinking about what you're doing. Or you can hold it at the top here. So this would be the safest method here, as long as you don't get your fingers around the other side. But if you do this, you can't get enough power into it to get it to bite into the wood. So the other way is hold it like this and then come down on it, which I don't like even less, because then you've got even more chance of glancing off, bouncing off and striking your fingers. So I'll show a little bit of maturity here. I'll hold it like this with a little splint. And now, if you manage to get it on the edge between the grain, you can get it to bite. And now you come down on it like this. You give it a twist when you're 2/3 of the way down, 3/4, and then you get a nice little splint. And you can work your way through. Let's see what happens now. It didn't want to bite at all then. You know, you get to a certain part of the wood and it just doesn't want to bite. It just will not enter the wood. Case in point there, if I had my fingers on the other side of that, would have been good night sayonara. Or good night Saigon, whatever it is. Yeah, it's okay. If you make a perfect hit, you can get in there. You come down, give it a twist. But there's so many variables to using this thing. You have to get so skilled at it, and you have to have a perfect piece of wood. I'm just not happy with it. Right, this is it working on a pretty much an optimal piece of wood, and as you see, okay, now you see, all back. It's not, you don't want to be splitting wood like this, and you can't get it to bite until you've hit it 3 or 4 or 6 times. You want this to be something that works. Then when you get here, give it a twist. That's nice. You can get off nice splints of wood. And then you can break these down. Okay. And as you saw what I did there, that is not a very clever thing to do, right? I have to hold it like this, or like this. You can just get like the nubs of your knuckles to make it safer. There's so much room for cutting your fingers off with this thing, it's unbelievable. So another safety aspect of it I don't like. Let's see if I can get into this. Can you imagine how hard I'm hitting this? You can see. Okay. Another thing you're likely to do is if you get to you don't think about it, you're absent-minded, your mind's wandering, you can be doing this. All of a sudden, you find yourself looking over the top of it. Then what you're doing, you're slamming down on a piece of wood with basically 2 stilettos sticking up into your face. Here's a good example of why this thing is pretty much worthless. So I've managed to get it halfway down, or a quarter of the way down this piece of small wood. And you can see it here and here, I've done exactly the same, and I've kept moving it in because just here, there's a small knot where it keeps getting stuck. So presumably the idea is you should be able to hit it like that. And this is like supposed to be a fireside activity. You're not supposed to be putting all your weight into it. It's supposed to have a certain amount of mechanical advantage. And I'm giving it a damn good try there, and I'm not getting through that what is a tiny little knot. And as you're doing this, the whole thing's vibrating, irritating your fingers. So let me put a little bit of oomph into it. Now I only just put on the camera, but I've actually slammed that down like that for probably 20-30 times to get through that little knot. It gives you absolutely zero virtual mechanical advantage. Here's another piece of pine I picked up out of the wood pile. You can see it's got grain in it. This is a little bit thicker. This is actually smaller than most of the wood in the wood pile. That bit I showed you before this scene, where it kind of worked. Let's see how it gets on with this one. Folks, first stage, you've got to try and get the knife to cut. And I'm going to be working from the inside out, so that's where you're going to get the most advantage in splitting the grain. It bounced off it like it's a piece of concrete. It's like I'm hitting a hammer in a piece of concrete, and when you hit down, this whole thing vibrates and smacks into your knuckles. Boom. It's going in with the tiniest amount. It's just making a hairline, like little mark in the top of the wood. When you're making splints, you want something which is going to work first time every time, or first time 4 times out of 5. You don't want to be sitting here. This is just an ordinary piece of pine, just pulled straight out of the wood pile. This is going to be like 90% of the wood you get out. Okay, I'm in. This is the other problem with it, or another problem with it. There, I went in, and it did actually go in at quite a distance. So I've got a bit of a split in it. but then when you withdraw the knife, it comes out. The idea is it should be stuck in, so then you can start pushing down. You don't want the knife to come out again after you've managed to actually get it through a grain. So it's just, okay. There, I did well, and I managed to catch just the edge. Now, so this is how it should be working. It should get stuck in, and then you can just go boom, boom. You get a 3-inch piece of splint off it. There you go, just bounces off. Not exactly, just pulls itself out. Now I'll demonstrate how actually poor this is at cutting into the wood. Okay, so this is a sharp piece of steel. I should be able to baton it in. No. It's sharp, there's no doubt about that, but it's not got enough weight behind it. When you swing it to bite into the wood. It's sharp, but it's not got any weight behind it. But it's too thick, so when you baton it, it's sharp, but now it's actually too thick, it's too wide. So it doesn't want to, do it with my right hand, give it at least a chance. It doesn't want to cut in. All it's doing is just bouncing across the top of the wood. I mean, this isn't a piece of old aged oak. Yeah, that doesn't have any problem with it. Let's try batoning through it with a little mower. In terms of practicality, I could sit here with my little mower and a piece of wood like this, and I'm going to have a uniform result. I know I can quietly put my knife there, line it up nicely with a grain, hit it with a baton, I need to lose a little bit of muscle there, and then go through it every time. Is this the easiest thing in the world? No, it's not. But at least I know I'm getting a uniform result every time. There's a knot there. You see that knot there? So I'm not going to break my knife. I'll just pull it out. See if I can twist the knife off. You see, oh yeah, look at that bend you get on that. So let me get this out and then put the Spantan in and see if that will do, how that will deal with the knot. This is a good bit of steel. That should be able to do something with that knot, right? So I'll put it in the same crack. I'll get it down. First of all, no. Let's get my breath back here. Is that what you want from a dedicated wood splitting tool? I mean, I don't really want to hit it. Keep doing that, because when it does eventually go through it, it's going to come flying off somewhere in all directions. I'll hit it down here. And it'll go in the other way. It's hardly giving you a great deal of mechanical advantage, making it easier to split wood, is it? Oh, good. All right, we're nearly there. Normally what happens when you have to do this is it comes flying off, hits the camera. There we go. Well done. Now I've gone to the wood pile, and I've got a mixed wood pile, and I've pulled out some hardwood. Beech, I believe. And I'm going to show you that this little wood splitting knife does not like hardwood one little bit. Okay, so you can hear this is a decent bit of hardwood, but it's in the wood pile. It's something you should be able to split to make splints with a dedicated splint making tool. So first of all, I'm not even going to bother trying to do that. I'll come down, I'll try and catch the edge here and get into the wood through one of the grain weak point spots. This is literally not even marking the top of this hardwood, and now the vibration through this is absolutely killing. By randomly whacking up and down, I managed to just cut off 2 millimeters. So let's get back into that and then actually make a splint of hardwood. Yeah. Now, not bad. Got another splint. Now I've got a wrap knuckle. So you get 2 splints for every 5 wrap knuckles. Like a matchstick flew off. So many times did I slam up and down on that? Not even making a mark, making a hairline mark in the top. Let's check it out on some more pine. Nice soft wood, feels very light. Let's see how it performs. Okay, so remember, this is supposed to make it life easy for you. I'll try and go into the grain and see how long or how fast I can go through and make splints out of this entire piece. One, not bad. This is the frustrating part. I don't want to be banging and banging trying to get it started. It just feels like you're going nowhere. Okay. Then I had that dreaded head nod down onto it. Let me make sure I'm actually recording. All right. Right. It just gets to that point where you think there's got to be an easy way of doing this, and there is. Right. There is an easier way of doing it. Maybe this is a little bit noisier, or you wouldn't want to be doing this sitting around your fireplace, but in terms of efficiency, in terms of not cracking your knuckles and getting blisters, a little hatchet getting the job done. Maybe where this thing comes into its own is when you've already got like medium-sized splints going, and you want to make them smaller. Still, seems like you've got to have free hands to make it work. Now this feels really, really dodgy. Having to hold it down here to get it to bite. Okay. That's ridiculous. Okay, the conclusion. This has got some kind of usage, but I must admit, based on the marketing I saw for it, I thought it was going to be a hell of a lot better than it is. One part is part of the arsenal really in making splitting wood down. It's got some kind of place in the toolkit. It's nice. That's one thing it's good at, is when you get it going down. That's the frustrating thing. So many times you try and get it to bite and it doesn't bite. There it bites. This is the thing where it does come into its own. When you got it down that far and then you give it a twist and then it gives you the two splints, the two halves. That part of it I do like. I can see it having a position there, but it's definitely not a one tool option for splitting wood, making kindling, making splints. It's one part of the toolkit for making kindling. That's one thing you need. That's another thing you need, and that's another thing you need. But in terms of what would I buy first if I want to make kindling, I'd buy that first, then you got that, and then if you really want to round out your kindling making arsenal, then go to that. But that is kind of a specialised tool, good in some circumstances, in other circumstances about as much good as a chocolate teapot. Thanks for watching. If you're a big fan of these tools, get down in the description box and tell me why, and tell me how I should be using it. So I'm sure there's some experts out there who are going to tell me I'm using it all wrong. It's actually quite good. It's like a what's it, the old bodybuilding tool, what's it called? I can't, Elf used to squeeze it and then pull it. Very popular in the 70s and 80s. Anyway, I'm digressing as I always do at the end of the videos. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you're a subscriber, thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not yet a subscriber and you like watching reviews of woodworking tools, which I sometimes do, hit that subscribe button, because I come out with regular videos, and then I'll see you all next time. Take it easy.